Have you ever tried the kind of breath work that doesn't just relax you, but take you into an altered state? So I just finished a 10-week altered states breathwork training program. And I went in thinking I was training to get better at altered states, to get insights, and came back feeling amazing. But it turned into a full-on psychotherapy experience because it exposed all my negative patterns running my life since childhood, like sadness, anger, revenge, avoidance, guilt, fear, blame, shame, and hopelessness. But once they show up, I didn't just need to understand them, I learned to process and integrate them. So in this video, I'll show you what happened over these 10 weeks, the biggest lesson I learned, and my top 3 tips, whether you're new to breathwork or already deep into the altered states breathing.
I trained altered stay breathwork for 10 weeks. Here's what I learned.
So here's what actually happened. I signed up a breathwork facilitator training with 7 directions. And as part of the program, we had to complete the 10-week altered states breathwork practice in Michael Brown's book, The Presence Process. And the daily practice was 15 minutes, twice a day of conscious connected breathing through the nose with inhales and exhales connected, no pauses. Quick safety notes, please check the contraindications for conscious connected breathing in the description below. And because I've done breathwork for 6 years before, click here to see my video about what I learned. I thought doing the conscious connected breathing for 10 weeks would be easy. Just breathing continuously through the nose, getting better at going into the altered states, and coming back feeling awesome. But what I didn't expect was this. The real training wasn't about getting good at altered states. It was about uncovering all the repressed and unconscious memories and emotions that have been running my life since childhood without me even knowing. So for the first 5 weeks, breathwork felt like a deep cleanse. It was like going to a dentist thinking this is going to be a quick checkup because I floss my teeth every day. But then they still pull out those scary scrapers and started scratching those plaques I didn't even know was there. And that's what this practice did to me. Because even in the first week, it brought up my worst sadness. The possibility of losing my dog Amadeus without getting to say goodbye. After that, the deep clean went into the hidden corner of my behavior pattern, like feeling of anger and revenge toward those crooks I kept meeting in my life. And then my avoidance, that pattern of pretending everything is fine so I don't have to feel what hurts. And finally, guilt. From the old childhood crimes I was still carrying like they were happening today. So by week 6, it became too much. My nervous system started shutting down and I genuinely thought, I'm self-destructing. My life is over. That night taught me something no one told me before. Altered states breathwork is not just deep, it's powerful. And if it's working, it can bring up more than you're able to handle. So the challenge stopped being go deeper. It became build safety. So I paused the altered states breathwork practice for 2 weeks and trained down-regulating breath instead, like soft nasal inhale and then slow and longer nasal exhale. Gentle pauses. And it helped me feel safe in my body again. And that's when it clicked. The goal isn't getting better at altered states. The goal is building enough safety and capacity to handle what the altered states reveals. And once I had that safety, the final 3 weeks became one big long integration. From forgiving the people who hurt me, to loving not just the good versions of me, but the worst parts of me, and learning how to meet and help my past and future selves. So you might be thinking, what's the actual science behind the conscious connected breathing? Are people just imagining themselves getting high? Or is something real happening in the body? Well, a recent 2025 study suggests that conscious connected breathing is essentially continuous, faster breathing, basically structured hyperventilation. And when you breathe that way, carbon dioxide tends to drop. But here's the key point. In their findings, the bigger the carbon dioxide drop, the stronger the altered states effects people reported. So the altered states isn't random. It's closely linked to physiological shifts, how far your carbon dioxide drops. And that helps to explain why it can feel like psychotherapy. Because in normal life, your mind is like a computer with 100 tabs open, and your nervous system keeps anything too emotional minimized in the background, but altered states can bring those minimized taps to the front. And when you're in the right setting, with a skilled facilitator and enough safety, those emotions don't just surface, they can actually move through and integrate. So your nervous system updates from, this is too much, to, I can handle this. But breathwork research also points to one non-negotiable: safety first. Because altered states breathwork drives carbon dioxide down. And when carbon dioxide drops too far, the experience can get intense fast. Strong physical sensation, emotional flooding, and panicky body signals. And it's not appropriate for everyone, especially with certain health conditions. So altered states breathwork is like weightlifting for your mind and body. You can get stronger, but if you lift your bar heavier than your capacity, you'll get injured. So building safety means learning regulation skills like down-regulating breathing, increasing intensity gradually, and respecting your body's limits. So for the final big question, does altered states breathwork actually help? And the answer is yes. In the same 2025 study, after a single circular breathwork session, the participants reported improved well-being and reduced depressive symptoms, even 1 week later. So this means that altered states breathwork is not just a nice session when you feel light only 10 minutes afterward. The deeper the carbon dioxide drops and the deeper the altered states experience, the more your well-being can improve many days later. Alright, so after 10 weeks of breathwork training, here are my 3 biggest tips I wish someone had told me before I started my breathwork training. First, don't chase altered states, train your capacity first. Because I went in thinking the goal was getting better at getting trippy, but then halfway through, my nervous system basically shut down. So here's the real goal. Build enough safety and capacity to hold whatever the altered states reveals. Because altered states breathwork is basically weightlifting for your nervous system. So you can get stronger, but if you load the bar heavier than you can handle, you don't get enlightenment, you get injured. So if you're new, treat it like a training. Start light, build gradually, and practice down-regulating breathing regularly. Second, if you're doing altered states breathwork, especially for the first time, do it in a safe environment with a trained facilitator, or at least with a friend who has some experience. And even if you're an experienced breather, have someone you trust on standby, a person you can message or call if you need support. Because when deep stuff comes up, you don't want your nervous system spiraling along. You want your nervous system to feel, I feel safe enough to handle this. And finally, this is where most people miss the point. You can have an amazing breathwork session, but integration is what makes it stick. A breakthrough without integration is like buying the newest and the best IT gadgets without ever turning it on. So after a session, don't just jump back into normal life like nothing's happened. Take one small action based on what you learned. Anything that turns your insight into real life. But if anything heavy comes up, don't shove it back under the rug. Get support, talk to someone you trust, or professional help. Because that's not weakness, it's integration. So before I started my 10 weeks altered states breathwork training, I honestly thought that breathwork was basically about getting better at accessing that special trippy place. So I could pull out deep insights, ideas, and solutions. Then come back feeling amazing, enlightened, and productive. But after finishing the 10 weeks breathwork training program, I started thinking differently. Maybe the real treasure in altered states breathwork isn't out there. Not some genius insights, big ideas, or perfect solutions. Maybe the real treasure is in here. The emotions I've been avoiding, the patterns on repeat, the old survival strategies, and finally staying with them without running, without bypassing, and without letting them run my life. Maybe healing isn't go deeper and deeper. Maybe healing is building more and more safety and capacity. So whatever shows up doesn't drown me. And maybe the most important parts of altered states breathwork is not what happened during the session, it's what you do after. So the breathwork opens the door, but your life is where the real work gets done. So if you tried any altered states breathwork before, let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. It really helps me make more videos like this. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.